back to Playdate with Art. This month, our theme is Sweet Swirls. And that's because we're going to be thinking about how different things like colors or sounds can move and swirl together to make really interesting patterns, designs, or songs. First, let's go to the galleries and look at a really cool painting that's going to give us some inspiration. Let's go take a look.
Hi, welcome to the galleries. I'm standing next to this big, colorful painting. It's called Phenomena Blue Held Over, and it was made by an artist named Paul Jenkins. Let's take a look at it. I see so many different colors when I look at this painting. Over on the right side near me, there's a lot of blue, and it looks sort of like it's flowing down toward the bottom of the painting in the center. And then when I look at the other side on the left, I see lots of different colors. Red, orange, yellow, green, some darker reds and browns, and some more yellows and greens. And look how they're also starting in the upper left corner and flowing down to that center middle where the blue is going. Let's go back and learn how we can make our own colorful painting that has some movement.
I really like that painting. I wonder how Paul Jenkins made those colors both swirl down the canvas, but from two opposite sides. Interesting. Well, let's make our own swirling, moving colors. Here's what we need. First, you need something to work on. Our project today is a little bit messy. I have this plastic tray. You could also use something like a paper plate or maybe a plastic plate. One important thing to keep in mind is whatever surface you use, it may get a little bit stained because one of our other materials is food coloring. And as you might know, food coloring, if it gets on things, especially light colored things, might leave a stain. So if you have a tray like this, that's great, or a paper plate, or another kind of plate that you can throw away. Another thing we need is shaving foam, and you want to make sure you have the foaming kind, not gel or another one, but the kind that comes out as a puffy white foam. We also need some kind of stick that can be stirred. I have some disposable chopsticks, so I'll use those. You could also use a toothpick, or if you have popsicle sticks, or if you have something like a paintbrush and you can use the other end where the bristles are not, you can use that too, and then you just want to clean it off after, or you can use something like this that you can throw away. You'll also need some paper. I cut up some pieces of copy paper, just regular white copy paper. I cut it into quarters because it's a little bit easier to work with a smaller piece of paper, as you'll see in a moment. Um, the paper is going to get wet, so if you do have heavier paper, like I have some watercolor paper, it's a little bit thicker. You might have cardstock, or even if you have something like poster board, you can cut that up. That actually has a nice smooth surface, so that'll work really well for this project. But if you just have copy paper from your printer, that works just fine. And then the last thing you need is a piece of cardboard. You can use corrugated cardboard, which is the kind of cardboard that you might find in a box that you get in the mail. But it does have a little bit of that texture to it. So if you want your artwork to look really smooth, what I did was I just cut out a piece of cardboard from a box, like a cereal box or cracker box, and I just folded it in half like this so that I have a nice smooth edge. And that's it. So once you have everything together, we'll get started. Again, this one's a little messy, so I'm gonna roll up my sleeves. If you have an apron, you might wanna put that on or change it to some old clothes that you don't mind getting stained. First thing we need to do is put down the shaving foam. I only need an amount of foam that's about the same size as my paper, and you can see my tray is much bigger than that. So I'm just gonna put down enough shaving foam to cover one corner so that it's about this size. So you're going to shake it up. You don't need a whole lot. I'm just going to go across, and it kind of puffs up as you put it down. Oop. There we go. And I'll just show you. See, I just covered about a quarter of my tray. I don't need the whole thing. And then the next part's really fun. We're going to get out our colors. So I'm using food coloring. You can also use, if you have liquid watercolor, that works. You just need anything that has color, but it's liquid. So like paint or markers that are solid aren't really going to work, but if you have something liquid, so that's why food coloring is great. And all I'm going to do is drip some colors all over. You don't have to make any particular pattern or design. This one's great for the little ones to do because you just need to squeeze and just get it all over. Again, hopefully your surface is okay to get stained. Some of the food coloring may get on there if you don't have your shaving cream totally covering, but if you're using like a paper plate or a styrofoam plate, then it's no problem. I'm just going to put a few drops of each of my colors. I have 4 here in this set. You can just do 1 or 2 colors, or if you have a lot, you might want to use those. I would say you don't want to like cover this. You actually want it to be more white than colorful, because otherwise it'll just kind of get a little bit muddy. All right, and just a couple squeezes of this. All right, so now you can see my shaving foam, some drips of color, drip drops all over. And now, this part's really fun too. We're gonna take our stick, toothpick, whatever you're using, and we're just gonna swirl it around. And you can already kind of see the colors coming out into the foam, right? And even though they're going in all different directions, you can see I'm doing kind of like curves. You could also go back and forth, zigzag. It's not exactly like the painting we were looking at, but you can sort of see that motion, that movement, like we saw in Paul Jenkins's painting when it was sort of moving down. All right, and now I'm going to take my piece of paper. This is just my regular copy paper, and you're just going to put it flat down on top of the foam. You don't even really need to press down too much unless there's any edges or corners that aren't quite touching. You don't need to like smash it down flat. You actually want to put it down pretty lightly on top. And I'm going to peel it off. And at first it looks kind of messy. So I'm going to put it down. And here again, I'm using my tray. You might want to put it down on a piece of newspaper. Maybe you have like a plastic tablecloth, something like that, just so you're not making a mess. And I'm going to take that folded edge of my cardboard and I'm just going to scrape this part. Probably you want the adult to do. I'm just going to scrape off the foam going from one side to the other. And check it out. Do you see all the swirls, the way the colors are moving? You can remember the way that I was moving my chopstick through. You can see some of those up and down lines, some of those swirly lines. Cool, right? And now we just want to let this dry. If there's still a little bit of foam, like I have some like on that far edge where I started my scraping before, I can just scrape it off. Yeah. And the nice thing with this is I can use my foam to do another print if I want. I'm just going to lay another one on top. Maybe I'll do it a little bit to the side of where I was before. Just going to gently pat it down. And then same thing. Peel it up. Not really much so far, but let's see what happens after I scrape it off. Take that edge, and I'm just pressing down gently, and I'm moving straight across. And take a look at this one. Ooh, there's a lot of purple in this one. I like that. Yeah, so you can do multiple prints. If you're noticing that the colors are starting to really mix together, get muddy, or it's hard to see those swirls, you can just put some more shaving foam right on top, add a couple more drops of your food coloring or your liquid watercolor, and you can keep going. When you're all done, again, you're just gonna let these dry. You might need to like give them another extra wipe. I see I still have some foam at the edge of mine. And then you can just rinse off your tray plate, or if you're using something disposable, of course, you can just throw it out. But you just want to rinse it off before everything dries. I need to wash my hands too. Actually, while I do that, why don't we go back to the museum? We're going to visit with my friends Ben and Sabrina, and they're going to play a song for us that also is all about swirling and moving. Let's go visit them now.
Hi, my name is Sabrina Raber and I play the flute. The flute is a woodwind instrument, which means I play it using my air. And it kind of sounds like this. It's a cool instrument. I hope you enjoy.
Hi, my name is Ben Haimann and I play the marimba. The marimba is a percussion instrument and I play it with mallets and it sounds like this. Today, Sabrina Raber and I will be playing a duet called Kembang Suling, and I know the theme this week is swirls, so you're going to hear our music kind of swirl together at the beginning, and then swirl apart, and then it's going to sound kind of like we're chasing each other, and at the very end, it's going to swirl and come back together. So we hope you enjoy Kembang Suling by Gareth Farr.
Wow, didn't Ben and Sabrina play such a nice duet? I loved hearing how the two instruments played together. I was imagining the sounds kind of swirling and moving like we were doing with our artwork. Speaking of artwork, here are some of the prints that I made. The ones I made earlier that you saw. And then I made a couple more. I really like these colors. If you have other colors or you want to try just using one or two colors, you can always just wipe off your tray or your plate and try those. But yeah, I hope you have fun making these. Thanks for joining me again for this month's Playdate with Art. We'll see you again next month. Bye!